Hello, everyone. My name is Jenny and it's so nice to have everyone back. Welcome to everyone who's new, and thank you to all of you who leave me very nice compliments and send emails. I really appreciate those, and I liked hearing back from all of you about what you'd like to hear coming up. So welcome to my patio / office / recording studio. This is my little haven, and I work a lot with the flowers. I got a little carried away this year. It snowed on Mother's Day this year, which doesn't happen here, and I had bought a bunch of flowers, so I thought, they looked like they were pretty much finished, but I thought, well, what the heck, I'm just gonna try and see what happens. And they actually took off like crazy, so they're kind of smashed in. I couldn't tell what kind of flowers they were anymore because they were pretty much dead, but they came back. So anyway, I wanted to be able to make a video outside. You could see my red umbrella, but because the sun, I didn't want the sun to be, it's kind of, I hope you can see me okay, because I'm really shaded when I'm looking at the screen, but hopefully you guys are able to see me. So everybody wanted to hear about QAnon, and so I was, I pretty much knew what I was going to say to that, but then a lot of questions were coming in through messages about, well, what about this and this? And I realized it's so far out there that I can't possibly address every question that's coming up. So, and they also, and this is why I haven't made it so far, because they're saying there's so much pollution on in the airwaves, especially YouTube. But I did notice that they are really YouTube pushing anything that starts with a Q. Channels or videos, I get notifications for people I've never heard of who don't have so many subscribers even, but that's the title of the video. And, and Metatron has said, and, I don't want to be offensive to anyone, but I will say that what he continues to share with me is that is the vibration that a lot of people are comfortable with. And so that's where the focus tends to go. And so, that's just the way that it is. And with the South Node in Sagittarius, which is cults, there's going to be a lot of that cult-like thinking. And that's going to be for about the next year and a half that the South Node is going to be there. Especially when you see, and Raphael actually pointed this out to me. So all of the planets, when we look from the Earth at the zodiac with giving 30 degrees to every sign, we talk about how they're aspecting each other in the air, aspecting one another in terms of how we see them from the Earth. Okay, Sidereal, of course, is from out looking in, but the tropical is from here looking up. It's like a flat, it's not a three-dimensional, it's like a flat 30 degrees, 30 degrees, 30 degrees. But the planets also aspect one another and the Earth parallel or by declination, and that's important too. And for the last almost 2 years, Saturn, Jupiter, and Pluto have all been at the same degree. And what that means is that the truth is fuzzy, and that there's a lot going out, a lot being done by powerful people, a lot of them that we don't know the names of, going on behind the scenes. Now, I believe, because I believe in critical thinking, that's part of this path as well. It isn't just swallowing what other people have to say. At the end of the day, this is a views and opinion modality, medium. It isn't the news. It isn't based in fact, unless, somebody has facts to prove, but they need to be actual facts. You can't just pretend people are dying and being cloned and then come up with your own evidence of that. I know people do that, but that is not happening. And I don't play in that energy. I don't want to. I don't see. Somebody said, that by me not sharing this or that I'm letting the dark win. No, giving attention, that actually promotes it, puts more of it out there, and causes strife. I don't want to cause any strife. I'm just telling you plainly what I've been shown, and just because I do use critical thinking, and critical thinking is something that's really important for us right now with the North Node in Gemini, is that we need to be looking at facts and, not an over emotional. It's that King and Queen of Swords, not like an emotional reaction to everything, but just waiting, allowing facts to come out is what they're saying, because all of the facts are not laid bare. That's what they're saying right now. There's still more information coming in. And, when we talk about 2020 and the year of the vision, and we went into 2020 and Mars couldn't see, Mars was in the fog, and he wasn't able to discern. It's sort of like when the facts are right in front of people and they can see what's happening, denying that and going off into whatever they think is true. What they think is true. South Node, Sagittarius. The opinion is the truth. And that's, the energy that we're going to be contending with as the South Node continues through Sagittarius. So I'm just letting you know that it's not going to disappear. Over 600,000 Americans voted for a QAnon candidate. QAnon was birthed in, back rooms. It's a political movement, and it somehow moved into evangelical, right-wing evangelical groups, and then part of right-wing spiritual groups. No one is a savior, no one, and they're all on the same team. Now, when we talk about the Cabal, the Illuminati, we don't know the names of those people, and the only way to find that out is to trace the money. When you are able to look energetically at the planet Earth, the darkest spot, okay, where there's the most dirty money, is Saudi Arabia. And you have to wonder why people are pushing this message. What is the end goal? What is the purpose of the message? And what is it based in? Is it based in fear, or is it based in love? Love is, unity. We're all the same. People that are racist, that are unable to love people who hold different political beliefs, will come back and play that person's role most of the time. At least maybe not this next time, but at some point, they will play, and Raphael is saying the outcast, the outsider, the one that they didn't want to allow in. That's how we learn that we're all the same. We keep playing out these stories until we finally realize, oh, and that is how we come to awakening, is through our heart, through loving ourselves completely. Then we're able to love others completely, instead of blaming immigrants or a group that's like the outsiders for the problem. They're spreading the disease, they're all rapists, or whatever it is that's separating groups of people. And it isn't going to be that a spaceship lands and suddenly we become, and all the, liberals die or all the conservatives die. That's not what happens. I believe that this is going to play out as we begin to look more and more alike. That it will go hand in hand. It goes hand in hand, is what Metatron is saying. We always, with the physical, there's something playing out in the metaphysical. If you have an injury or an illness, there's an energetic reason for that. It's it's the same thing happening. It's just one in the metaphysical, one in the physical. And so, I can't remember, maybe somebody could leave it in the comments. I know that we have a number of generations left until no one is born blonde anymore. Luckily, I still am. But yeah, we don't have that many generations left that there aren't going to be any more natural blondes, because we're all blending together. We're all going to be one race, and that's what is happening. And and some people, you know, the DNA in some people is stronger, that fear that they're going to be wiped out. I'm talking about Whitey, you know, because there won't be that many that look, you know, pale, pasty is what I want to say, because we'll be all mixed in together. And then, you know, but that's a long time from now. And so when I get questions about rapture, you know, it's the religious dogma and it's people's own fears. When you channel, like when I was a kid, and I think it's just easier when you're a kid, you're more you trust yourself more, because you're kind of like in that vibration. You don't know as much what there is to be, how you can fall into ego, and so it's easy. And I used to then allow Jesus or the Holy Spirit to come through and speak directly through me. I don't do that any longer. I'm not as comfortable. I have done that, but a lot of times, especially with the third eye, what people are seeing is not actually what they're getting. Do you know what I'm saying? The eyes can be deceiving, and the third eye is more to do with perception. It isn't just seeing. For instance, I once heard someone who channels Metatron finish doing the official channeling and then go on and speak about something personal, and it happened to be about me. And didn't use my name, but the story, because they didn't know what the story was, they had sort of filled in the blanks, but they were filling in the blanks with who they thought was actual Metatron, like the creator's version of Metatron. But our ego is how we're filtering those things. And so if you have opinions about someone and you think this or this of the person, then you're going to see that same energy that was just speaking, you know, truth and light and love, now gossiping or, you know, demeaning someone, being critical of someone. They don't do that. That's ego. And so I'm very careful. And, you know, I had the same thing. I wanted to talk about this specifically, that there was a time before YouTube, or, you know, this was a while ago, that I had my own council. Okay, and it was like 5 entities, but they weren't authentic. One looked like Jesus, but he was a lot more harsh than actual Jesus, because that's my ego. That's what I, at some level of me, believed, you know, that, you know, you look the wrong way, you're going to go to hell. And so we can have those aspects. They're actually ego aspects, but they can look like, and he's talking about, like, people call them like impersonators or false light. It's just ego. And the only way that you can tell as a viewer, that any of us can tell, is discernment. And it gets tricky when someone fervently believes with everything in them that Donald Trump is their Messiah and that he's actually doing these things. It's very believable then when they share that with us, because they really believe it, like in their bones, is what he's showing me, that is the truth. And so, you know, anything of separation, anything of, like, the liberals are all, you know, pedophiles, and you know, the Republicans are, it's silly. Whenever they show me, like, the political parties, they show me, like, with the chessboard, and it starts out red and blue, and then they start sort of mingling, and they're all purple because they're all taking money from the same people. They're just taking different amounts. Yeah. You know, it's like the secret CIA wars began in Latin America under JFK. Reagan got caught with Iran-Contra, but that was going on a long time. And it's, you know, every single president between them, both parties. So they're working for the people who we don't know. Okay, we don't know the names of. That's why they're called the Cabal and the Illuminati. We don't know their names, but they're the ones that are directing the propaganda and the separation and the fear. and the Trickster is what Metatron is talking about. And so I'm not going to address every single thing that they're saying because I don't know what it is. I'm glad that I don't know what it is. I just hear, I had a comment last time that if I didn't believe that JFK Jr. was alive and working behind the scenes to bring down the cabal, then she was watching the wrong channel. And I was like, yeah, you are watching the wrong channel because that's not true. So yeah, it's just, I don't know if there's anything else. And Archangel Raphael is just saying that this is one reason, or demonstrates well, why it is vitally important to listen with your heart in order to discern what is of the light and what is linked to fear and to illusion. And whenever there's like good guys and bad guys, there's fear in there. So, and that's just not the way that it is. So we all know this system is broken. It's not like one party is going to rescue us or one person is going to rescue us. Like, who knows? I thought when I made the End of Corruption video, and I still believe that that's a 250-year period until Pluto comes back again. And, that then we'll see the money for weapons being directed to other causes, other reasons, because it's necessary. And that whatever comes down the pike is so that money, the tax money that Metatron called blood money, that money goes where it needs to go instead of to weapons manufacturers. So I wanted to also talk about, this is going to be a long video, pretty sure. So I wanted to talk about the Saturn-Pluto conjunction real quick and just show you that Saturn-Pluto, all of them down there in Capricorn in the 6th house, where you have Ceres and Mercury, and we're going to talk about them later because they're important. I want to mention what their involvement exactly means. We'll get into that a little bit more. But when you see that, and then you see Uranus in the 10th house there, that can be where leadership is literally not doing anything because they don't care how many people die. And I mean, we've seen that play out. So no need to talk about more. We still, in this country for the past... or I guess I saw the article a few days ago. It was that for 7 days straight, one American died every 80 seconds. I don't know where the propaganda is coming up about the numbers being inflated. If anything, they're inaccurate. My neighbors who are Trump supporters, and I get along with them, my neighbors who are Trump supporters said that their son-in-law was sick for like 2 months, couldn't stop coughing, high fever, every symptom, and he tested negative. And they don't believe that he was negative. So, I don't believe that we're inflating numbers or that any doctors or medical professionals are lying. Dr. Fauci has been with 4 administrations, different parties, doesn't have anything to do with politics, just a doctor, and his life is being threatened and his family's lives are being threatened, so they have to have a private security firm now. I mean, it's really not, if you're not here, you can't really understand how, what do you want me to say? Just, there's a lot of anger and tension in the air in this country. Pretty much anywhere you go, you have to look around and make sure you can say certain things. It's really weird. Not normal. And it happens so quickly. But yeah, I'm not going to go too much more into any of that except to say that, there's no one being killed and having clones made, and that the galactics don't take side in political fighting. They don't take sides. But the person's ego may be seeing an apparition or an entity or an energy that looks like Ashtar, or looks like, I don't know who they're saying that they're channeling, but, and there could be a council that's not the actual council of light. So, yeah, just wanted to let you know he wanted to talk about, just hit on those points, that the discernment is in the heart, and when something like makes you feel hopeful and inspired, then that is from light and love and highest truth. And when something is degrading other people or calling, he's saying like questioning your own critical thinking, like I know that there were one of you shared with me that someone actually, a couple of readers had advised not to think too much about it. Like, I mean, come on. The angels never tell us, like, oh, don't put too much thought into that, or don't exercise critical thinking, is what he's saying. Because without critical thinking, we can have very poor judgment, is what he's saying. So I wanted to also show you this is a sidereal chart. So I just talked about how tropical, you're looking from the earth, and every 30 degrees there's a different sign. The constellations, the sidereal astrology, they work with a lot more than 12 constellations, and it's from that cosmic aspect looking in. Okay, and that's why the degrees are different. But in sidereal astrology, and also they're reminding me that at night I see myself going up and looking at the planets from outside, because I like to watch the transits in sidereal astrology. And I don't know, maybe 6 months ago, they showed me looking at placements in my chart and just sort of being like, okay, I let go. Because I realized, like, there's nothing I can do about these things. So, yeah, I've been having a Uranus transit. It's been going like bam, 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 bam for about almost 5 years now. It's been serious Uranus transit. So I've kind of learned to roll with the punches. I don't have a refrigerator, and the manufacturers are behind. So I'm already a week into ice, everything in the fridge and the freezer, and now I'll be doing it for a couple more weeks. Hopefully it'll only be a couple more weeks, but yeah, Frigidaire apparently is not keeping up with demand. So here we have the sun, if you can see that, right at the first degree of Leo, and then you can see that that's for August 7th at 00 hours in the United Kingdom, in Greenwich time, which is universal time. And that is actually when the Lion's Gate begins officially. But gateways don't work that way. I don't get into the fray too much with gateways, and I've seen so many write-ups about Ceres, the Earth. Ceres is not going to come up over the horizon on the Earth until the 16th of August. And so that's when Ceres will make her appearance. I've just seen so many write-ups about this that aren't accurate. But it doesn't, that's why I just kind of but yeah, we're celebrating Leo season. When the sun enters Leo, it's the sign of kings, opulence, it's the ego. The sun rules the ego, and the sun is also the soul. And so it's where we learn to harmonize, to bring into harmony the ego and the soul, and allow the soul to shine forward, and allow the ego to be the complement. Raphael is saying the complement to the soul. Your ego is your personality. The ego is not terrible. But I do, like I said, when I'm doing healing work, and when I'm doing channeling or talking to them, making a video of any kind, any work that I do, I always go into the Creator's light, like the, meditations that I've done here before. And I surrender everything of lower ego. And then I say that I'm an instrument and a channel of the Creator's pure unconditional love. And then he said today, Raphael added compassionate truth, because I don't want to offend anyone, who has been caught up in that, because I don't want them to think that I'm being critical. I'm just simply laying facts out and delivering the message that they would like me to deliver. So we are in the Lion's Gate energy, and Sirius is getting ready to rise in 5 days from now. So it is a nice energy. The other side of that is that we've got the Mars-Pluto square coming up. Last week, as Mars was squaring Jupiter, we saw so many explosions. Uranus is stationed, and it will be stationary for a while in Taurus at 10 degrees of Taurus. And so when all of that is going on, then we're prone to explosions, to earthquakes, I mean, even you could even include like a tidal wave kind of scenario in that energy. It's kind of like anything could happen. When those big boys are doing that kind of stuff, then, you want to see if there's, it could be a volcano. I mean, there's all kinds of possibilities. And especially with what's coming in with a new moon energy, we look to that to play out over a period of 2 years. Like every 10 months, there's a square to that moon. And so it finishes up in about 2 years. So, we're in this energy of, and I said that I would talk about Ceres and Mercury. Ceres was right in that Pluto Saturn conjunction. Ceres and Mercury were right there, right in the middle of it. And so Ceres is the archetype of Demeter, she's known as. In some, I forget which language is Ceres and which one is Demeter, but she was the mother of Persephone, who was kidnapped by Pluto and taken to the underworld. And because, she was so distraught, because she went to Zeus and said, go get my daughter out of hell. And Zeus said, I can't go there. Mercury is the only one that can go there, Trickster. And so Mercury went down and rescued Persephone. And then Jupiter said, okay, or Zeus said, okay, she's allowed to stay above ground half of the year, because he was making a compromise between Pluto and Ceres. And Ceres said, okay, if she's only going to be allowed up here half the year, I'm only going to bring the harvest once a year. And so that's where we get, like, Cereal is from Ceres, so she has to do with the harvest and grain, and she has a lot to do with Virgo. And in that way, she's sort of like a sister to Mercury. And so I link her with the seasons, because that's the first time that we hear, there's a legend, a story, a myth about the seasons being created when suddenly there was a time of harvest. And so she's linked very much with the weather. And, we've been seeing climate change scenario has been playing out for a long time now. But I believe that with that, that again, that's about a 500-year cycle, Pluto and Saturn. And so I believe that over that period, through that period, we'll begin to see more, he's saying rambunctious changes in the earth. And so I just wanted to bring that to everyone's attention, because he brought it to my attention that Ceres, Pluto, Saturn, the vertex, which is a point in the sky that's sort of like a karmic marker. It is like a karmic marker. It's very important in your chart. And Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Ceres. So when all of them are at the same degree with the vertex, that tells me to be careful with food. Bless your food. Always bless your food. And, if anything comes up with health while this is going on, let's say till Mars is finished in next January, really don't ignore that. Because when Uranus is stationing in Taurus, which is the physical body, we can be having breakdowns with the body, or we can be susceptible. So whatever you need to do, however much you need to sleep to keep your immune system up and to make sure that you're getting the supplements. I talked about with Pluto being issues of excretion. I don't like that word, but that's the word that they gave me. Anything with the endocrine system. When you're looking at Ceres Mercury 2, you want to pay attention to blood sugar. Blood sugar is something that they're pointing out right now. And keeping all of that in balance, like being balanced with the diet. And really looking to your physical body. The only way that we demonstrate love for ourselves is what we say to ourselves and how we treat the physical body. And when we're giving the physical body things that make it sluggish, that we get depressed. Anytime that there's a lot of sugar. Sugar also causes depression. You know, gut issue is linked directly with brain. So it has a lot to do with your mental health, your diet. And so he wanted me to point that out to you as well. But yeah, as we move into the energy right now, not only is Mars coming up to square Pluto, but on the same day as Uranus moves retrograde on the 15th, so day after or 4 days from now. I don't know why I just skipped to the 13th, but yeah. And then on the 16th, the sun is going to trine Mercury, or I'm sorry, the sun, yeah, the 16th and 17th, the sun and Mercury will trine Mars, and the sun in Leo and Mercury with, and you know, trining Mars, that's a nice energy. That should be something where, you know, there's a breakthrough or a push forward. Even though Mars is in that square to Pluto, that energy is like when you have a trine with the three of them in fire, that sort of moves past it. So, and always we feel better like once the 15th passes, it feels better. It's the tension leading up to the conjunctions or the squares that bother us. And then once that energy moves forward, then it's kind of like, oof, that's over. But yeah, this week is rough. I mean, you got Pluto, or I'm sorry, Mars with Black Moon Lilith, and then he's moving up with Eris to square Pluto. And that's a triggering degree. That's about the degree that the Saturn-Pluto conjunction came together. And so, you know, it's basically that degree. So, you know, that usually will bring back an issue that may have gone on for you. So that was in January, but it could have been before that. It could have been like around October. And always, you know, pay attention because Mars is getting ready to move backward to begin his retrograde. So let us move to the new moon in Leo, and I will show you that chart. I don't want to put my glasses on because the light is in front of my face and it reflects so much. Okay, so if you look at where the sun and Mercury and the moon are, there at 27 degrees of Leo, they're in what's called a quincunx. And that is that 150 degree aspect that's sort of like it's like when you have an itch that's like you have to scratch your arm, like right now. That's what that feels like. Okay, so it's tension. It's going to feel tension. You're going to feel a bit of tension. And when we begin, you know, the dark of the moon begins about the 16th, 15th, 16th. So, you know, just keep that in mind that this is a tension, that we're in like a tense energy. And so just to kind of, you know, stay away from the people who you know are going to be trigger happy. But I want to point out how Mars, oh geez, the umbrella is not helping me, how Uranus is here, right there. We see Uranus, and then Mars is in, follow the long blue line down to the sun and moon and Mercury, and then the imaginary blue line that goes from the sun, moon, and Mercury over to the south node in Sagittarius. So we have another new moon that is a break from the past because the south node is at what's called the gate of the gods in those last degrees of Sagittarius. So that's the black hole that they are unable to photograph because so many large stars are dying out around it, but they can detect, NASA can detect the radio signal coming from there. Sorry, I don't like that ringing in my ear, so I just white light that. But they can detect that there's a radio signal coming, and so we believe that the central sun, that our sun is getting downloads from the central sun through that portal, or somebody is downloading through that portal. And so what that tells me is that you're breaking from the past, making a new commitment. He's saying a fresh commitment to yourself. And for onward and upward, he's saying for the goals that have been like a lifelong dream or lifelong passion, something that you feel passionate about, but wanting to accelerate and to move forward, he's saying by leaps and bounds. So are we ready now to go forward by leaps and bounds? probably not quite yet, because we've got that quincunx. We're still giving up old things. And what this chart, it talks about is that we're giving up bad habits of how we treat ourselves. And I know it's sort of like, this is boring. You know what I mean? But I mean, just speaking practically, if we aren't like doing with the physical body, if we are, you know, so focused on the spiritual aspect and not nurturing the physical body, then we can't, how do you want to say that? Integrate fully into the light body. Because he's showing me that it's almost like he's saying, when you're kind and loving and paying attention to your body, the body is inviting the aspect of the self who is pure love and light to be housed within the body. But if the physical body is out of balance or uncomfortable, then it is unable to hold that vibration. So that's what Raphael was saying. Raphael is really good, like with fitness and diet, just so you guys know. Yeah, I mean, when you see, that is a lot of like moving forward. You know, the 10th house is the legacy house. It's what we leave behind, like what people have to say about us, like what mark we left on the world. Was it our children, how we raised our children, you know, whatever it is for people. But that speaks to allowing old habits to die away. Of course, Neptune is in a trine, which is a very harmonious and beautiful flow of energy to Venus in Cancer. And so that's about like loving yourself, doing things that make your heart happy, doing something to beautify your home, even if it's arranging furniture. If, you know, you're done cleaning things out, if you can arrange furniture, especially if you're wanting to call in abundance, that's a good way to do it, because the flow, it gets stagnant. And so even rooms that we're not in a lot, I will still go in and move things around, just to kind of zhuzh up the energy. Zhuzh is the word that I heard. And I noticed too that Uranus is in a sextile, which is a choice with Venus. And Venus is balance, relationships, money, and that being the 10th house, it looks more like for married couples that could be an issue, but could be like with significant other. And then with the vertex is also talking to, it's in actually a square, so a tension energy with Neptune, and Neptune is retrograde. So that's where spirit just comes in and says, ba-bam, this is what's happening. And that we really have no control over. And a lot of that lesson is that we don't have control over it. And so just to be at peace with it. And he's saying trust that what is being done for you now is not coming from a place of someone wanting to do something to you. And so he was talking a lot about, just in general with these energies, that where are we focusing on? What is taking up our thoughts? What occupies our mind? Is it the thought of, you know, the good guys, what is that idiot doing today? You know, like where is it that we're focusing our attention? Because where we're focusing our attention is what we're cultivating and fertilizing and what will grow and manifest. And that's part of this whole thing with, you know, people are going to drug us, or they're tricking us into this or that. It's like almost they're trying to create that, and they will. So, you know, really like staying in that heart-centered place and imagining your future, the way that you would like it. It's also important to, because, you know, if we have those tendencies to prepare for the worst, is what he's saying, we can send that energy into the future. So when you're doing your new moon manifestation, and I'll just say the time right now. So it's August 18th in Chicago at 9:41 p.m. and Brasilia would be 11:41 p.m. It's on the 19th in London at 3:41 a.m. and Sydney is 12:41 p.m. So it's the 18th and the 19th. So as you're doing your ceremony, and you've got, you got a few days, 2.5 days about you to do that. But you know what? Metatron always says never the wrong time to do the right thing. So if you see this video weeks from now, you can still do a manifestation. Yeah, he's saying it isn't negated because, it isn't a new moon energy. But when you do that, send a healing, ask the creator, or ask your angels, ask the aspect of you that loves you purely and unconditionally to heal your future. And when you say that, what you're doing is all of the negativity that's out there just in the ethers about what's coming next, you're healing that. You're basically, it looks like it gets vacuumed up. It's almost like gray smoke or black smoke, depending on how negative the thinking is and how much of it there's been, that just sort of gets sucked out of the air. So that's always a good idea to do that. I caught myself in that, like, oh, what about this and this? And I know everybody's got their stuff happening right now, but I've got old stuff. This is talking about money issues. So I've got old stuff with that I need to straighten out, that I just don't really relish getting into the whole thing again. But came up yesterday and it was like, okay, I guess this is happening. So yeah, that kind of stuff is what you want to look at for, because Uranus and Venus can be a huge windfall of money or losing money. But he's saying that your time and attention hold value. And so where you're focusing your time and you're focusing your attention, just like, it will grow, it will prosper. That if we're focusing on, he's bringing up like the thoughts of what could happen next, or economic collapse, possible economic collapse. That's something that's out of our hands, and that, to focus that the way forward, that there is going to be a smooth and graceful and easy way for you to go. And that when you encounter rocks or stumbling blocks, he's saying, or bumpy road along the path, that your angels, he's showing me that they can like lift us and help us like move right over that. Because if you notice, looking in Gemini here, you see the North Node at the end of Gemini, and it's flush with the Chaos asteroid. And Chaos in the chart is what you need to like fight for, kind of like what we're going over a lot. That's like a point of contention that we're really working through in this lifetime, that takes effort. And when you see it there with the North Node at the end of Gemini, that's where it's like really using critical thinking and uplifting thoughts and uplifting speech. He's talking about uplifting speech. Another thing that I do at the end of the day is, when I clean out my energy, is I say remove the gavels, because the judgments look like little gavels. They look different, I'm sure, for other people, but they look like little gavels. And that's mostly what we do to ourselves. It isn't so much that it's coming in from other people. I mean, if we have those thoughts about other people, like, well, I would have done it this way, then yeah, you're sending a gavel into your space when you do that. But you're also sending it to their space. So I always just say to heal and cleanse the gavels, and then the soul fragments come back in. They kind of look like snowflakes. Heimdall, the energy of Metatron, is in a harmonious, nice flow of energy with Neptune, which is like gifts that maybe you couldn't even imagine. You couldn't comprehend that's what your higher self has in store for you. So it is a nice energy, but there will be something that is released. So whether it's a habit or, whatever, it's going to be something different for all of us. And I wanted to, just because someone had asked a question, or someone had said that I wasn't going over like the astrology for the next couple of weeks. I cover, like, whenever I'm talking about, we're covering that, like whatever is going on. A lot of times I don't get too heavy into the details of this day, because people that aren't so into astrology are just going to tune out. And so really, whatever I'm talking about, I'm covering for the next period, okay? Because they're always telling me, what dates I'm looking at to talk about. So the Sabian symbol for this new moon is the luminescence of dawn in the eastern sky. So that's a nice energy, right? New dawn. And then I really liked the Chandra symbol, and this was what he drew me to read to you. So this is Elias Lionsdale, the Chandra symbols, and Leo 27 is a beaded curtain, a double identity, outwardly conventional, appropriate, legitimate, and orthodox, inwardly alien, cosmic, involved with other realities, and boldly exploring the infinite. You feel compelled by inner necessity to maintain both worlds and to serve the outer by bolstering goodwill everywhere. Yet this is achieved with the fraction of your awareness and sensibility, meaning that you don't realize how many lives you touch when you do something kind for another person. Meanwhile, the depths, the heights, the many worlds beyond are there, are attended to, are thoroughly made your own. You are the iceberg with a wonderful tip showing and a fabulous wealth of goodies inside to partake in endlessly. So, you know, it's kind of like being in the world and not of it. I know someone that this fits very well. Outwardly conventional, appropriate, legitimate, and then inwardly alien, cosmic, and how, you know, we share what we choose to share with people, right? All of us who are into this kind of stuff. And really, the world, he's saying the doorway to other worlds is found within the heart. So when we do grounding, maybe we are going to do that. Okay. So let me just so I think we'll do a meditation then to cover some of that, what that means when you tune in and you go down into your heart. But when you take a deep cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, and then you center yourself in the heart, and then feel that vibration moving down into the root chakra, because we tend to want to go up, right? We want to go out, and because that's where God is. And what that does is that it ungrounds us and it closes the base when we do that. And so it's important that before, you know, we go into the sky's the limit stuff, that we really ground down, because when you open the portal of the root chakra and you witness the cord, just imagine the cord being released down into the earth. What happens is that as it goes through the earth star, it then links into the heart of the earth. You're linking into the earth star. The earth is a star. It's part of the cosmos. And when you link into that foundation of pure love that's deep within the earth, it then raises your consciousness so that you actually can go much higher once you go all the way down. And that is very important, because that's how the heart is open. When our root chakra is closed, the heart is closed. And then we aren't able to tune in to the messages of the soul. And he wanted me to point out that your soul, your soul star sits above you. It looks like a teardrop, but it's actually like a water drop. I said teardrop, but it's a water drop. But it is, you know, linked with the emotion, the soul, the heart. So that makes sense that it looks like a teardrop. But it's blue. And so your soul is there, always talking to you, always. It's just that we get caught up in our thoughts. We don't take the deep cleansing breaths throughout the day, and then the root's closed, and we're not able to, because we're hearing all kinds of things, because we're not focused inside. And if we aren't, then the soul can't talk to us. Also, just doing like mundane chores, doing the dishes, doing yard work, things that busy your mind, knitting. That's a good way to be able to listen, because you're not thinking about all of these things going on around us. You're kind of focused on a mundane task, and then thoughts can come in more fluidly. So he was really talking a lot about, you know, tuning into our soul, and the ability to hear the soul is innate. In other words, every single person has that ability. That's something that we share, and it's a divine birthright that you're able to hear that. It's just that we don't take the time to sit and to listen. A lot of times a part of us can think that the soul is unhappy with us because of things that we've done, or there could be shame in the way, is what he's saying too, or regret. And so I just say, I am the light of creation, everything else is an illusion, and it's gone. And then those things just they slip away because they're just the illusion. Tuning into messages from our soul, and then teaching yourself, really telling yourself, especially if you grew up where you weren't supported, that you are completely supported, that everyone in your soul family loves you unconditionally and supports you, and anything else is the illusion. So, really convincing yourself, baby you, that you've got a huge team of support on your side. And when he's speaking to this, he's showing me just, you can't count the people, the multitudes that are in our soul families that are all rooting for us. And then allowing ourselves to feel the Creator's love coming from the beauty all around us, like nature, flowers. Raphael is also very big about grounding. And so I just realized, that's why I'm outside. But yeah, when you spend time in the woods, like if I hadn't had that period of a year or so where I was able to go to the woods for however long I wanted to during the day, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I would not be sitting here, I promise you, because I was so stuck in the illusion. And really going there and getting away from the media, social media, all of it, just shutting it all off and not hearing the noise that's out there. Just going somewhere quiet, sitting by the water. Even a bubble bath is a great way to ground too, if you're not able to get outside right now. And then he also wanted me to say suffering is optional. A lot of times we have conditions to sacrifice, to suffer, to struggle, because we think that we're earning something. Like he's saying that it's an achievement, and he's saying it's something that we've done many times before, many times over, and it's no necessity to repeat. We don't have to stay in that paradigm. It's always how are you going to look at something? I'm not going to say that I don't have when all that came up yesterday that I didn't want to deal with. I cried for a good long time. I did. I just thought you know what? That's it. It's too much. We do that. We're human beings. Just forgive yourself and move on. Find a different way to look at, call somebody who can snap you out of it. That's what I usually do. And that's always helpful too, is if you have somebody else to talk to, a member of the soul family. If you don't, then ask, because they will bring you people. They will. I promise you. That's happened for me. So then let's go on and talk about the rest of August. So the 20th, Mercury will move into Virgo. And Mercury in Virgo, that's where he's exalted. And that'll be a lot of, he's talking about tidying, diet, exercise, Mercury in Virgo. We got to get that down because that's part of the balance thing. And also it's the only way, and a lot of times I've mentioned this with clients too, if you're physically or sexually abused, you are most likely, we usually take it out on our physical bodies. And so this is a good time, he's saying, to make it up to yourself and really tune into listening to your physical body. Allow yourself to hear from your physical body, saying encouraging things to your body. I'm going to be doing that with the Uranus and Taurus and then Mercury and Virgo. I definitely will be doing that. And then the 22nd, the sun moves into Virgo. Happy birthday to all of the Virgos. On the 24th, then Mars will have finished squaring Pluto and will be squaring Saturn. So this Mars isn't going to quit. We're just going to keep going through those stages with him. On the 25th, Mercury will trine Uranus as Venus opposes Jupiter. So that is most likely something is gone in that energy. That's the 25th. So around there, pay attention, but that's something leaving. The 27th, then we have Venus trine Neptune. That's a very sweet energy. And the 29th, can't read my writing. Mercury trine Jupiter. And so that could be 27th, could be, I'm sorry, the 25th, when Mercury trines Uranus and opposes Venus. That could be something of an ending, something finishing. The 29th, we may get like how we're going to then redo, clean up, you know, contemplating like moving forward, how we're going to make what the next move is going to be. On the 30th, Venus will oppose Pluto while Mercury opposes Neptune. That is during the dark of the moon, because we're coming into the full moon. The full moon is the 2nd. So I'm just telling you, the 30th, the 1st, the 2nd, be very kind to yourself those days. Mercury is going to trine Pluto on the 1st. Not necessarily anything bad, but just days when you may need a little TLC, a little bit more TLC. So I just pulled a few cards, and so I'm going to share those. So this is Colette Baron-Reid, The Enchanted Map. And I just got these cards. So the first one is Spark. Can you guys see that at all? Gosh, I really hope that you can see that. Spark. There is a spark of creativity in you, and you have every reason to move forward with optimism and hope. Oh boy. Sorry. Open yourself to inspiration and allow life to show you its beauty and your part in co-creating it. This is the perfect time to give birth to an idea, start a new relationship or job, or begin any endeavor. Attraction is high as you connect with others who can co-create joyous experiences and join with you in expressing the finer aspects of life. Watching a spark turn into a flame and stoking that fire is gratifying activity. And that's another reason why, you know, it's important right now that we're easing off of addiction. That's always water. It's always linked with Neptune or the moon and water. And it can, when it's overdone, or something that we become dependent on, we can lose the spark. Like that water can kind of just put out the spark, put out the fire. Mercury in Virgo. Details, details. This is the time to be aware of the fine print in all areas of life. Look at the details and leave the broad strokes for another time. When this card appears in a reading, it's a sign to finesse a project, make small but meaningful gestures, or add a personal touch to your correspondence. Be aware that what you need to know lies in the details. If you're entering into an agreement of any kind, pay attention to them before, not after, when it's too late. Clarity and transparency are key. You can gain great understanding by observing the minute body language, offhand remarks, and fleeting facial expressions that reveal the larger picture. That's the trickster energy too. So he's pointing that out. And the bone collector. When the bone collector appears, she is asking you to look closely at your circumstances to see if you are fully present in reacting out of past conditioning and unconscious expectations. Whenever we're wounded, especially when we're young, it's as if something essential is stolen from us. We adapt and accept a particular version of the truth that then sets us up to behave in a certain way in the future when faced with a situation that reminds us of the original event. What we know about ourselves thus becomes influenced by a perception of limitation. You may feel unworthy or without courage. You may see yourself as flawed or unlovable or expect to be criticized. No matter what your question, the bone collector reminds you that the truth is that you are a powerful being with limitless possibilities. She has kept safe what was stolen from you in the wounding and is here for you as you reclaim it now. You have everything you believe you lack, and the bone collector is your inner resource. Act as if you what you need, as if you have what you need, and you'll find you have it after all. Anything is possible. With awareness, the wounds of the past need not define you. And it's really important, like when there has been a loss with someone, and all of us have suffered that from, some karmic circumstance way long time ago and needed to be brought into balance. And so it's important to forgive that soulmate. The closest soulmates, the ones that you are, in thick with, are the ones, a lot of times, the ones that hurt us the most. And it's very important to just say, okay, I don't need to understand why. I choose to forgive that and to allow it to go, because it can't, the return then, until we forgive and allow that resentment to go, it will block anything from coming in that's different than that was. So really important to forgive and to let it go, have patience for other people. I guess we could do that grounding meditation. So let's just take a deep cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. And center yourself in your heart space. And we're going to release the energy from the heart, feeling it moving down through the solar plexus, through the sacral chakra, coming into the root chakra, witnessing the portal of the root chakra open, extending the silver cord down into the heart of the earth. As it extends down, it winds down, coming into the heart of the earth, locking in there, then witnessing the white lights coming from the earth, bringing all of the benefit of the earth, the spark of creativity, of creation. So he's showing me rainbows, rainbow like lasers almost coming inside the white light, the white ball of light. Feeling that coming up through your Earth star, clearing all of the stuck and stagnant energy around your Earth star, witnessing as she rotates and connects in with the crystalline grid of the Earth. And you'll, if you're grounded, you should be able to feel that in your feet, moving up through the legs, coming into the hips. We're going to just ask the Creator to harmoniously balance and integrate the masculine and feminine energy within you. You could say yes, if that's okay. Taking a deep breath, moving up through the root to the sacral chakra. We're going to ask the Creator to clear out any stuck or stagnant energy left behind from past relationships, or he's saying violations, or any acts of betrayal, any harboring resentment. I'm just going to witness, if you want to say yes, I'm just going to witness that transmuting, cleaning the soul fragments there. I'm going to ask the Creator to send healing to all of you who are having issues with the reproductive systems, or prostate, or digestive, like intestinal tract that they're showing me. You could say yes, if that's okay. And then moving into the solar plexus, Archangel Raphael is going to set a bright sunshine, beam of sunshine. It looks like a sun. And you'll be able to feel that getting stronger. Moving up into the heart chakra, we're going to ask the Creator to cleanse any wounding from the lungs. You could say yes, if that's okay. Any pollution. And then moving up into through the higher heart. Some of you are having your higher heart opened for the first time, allowing the throat chakra to be fully opened, and then moving up into the pineal gland. As it enters the pineal gland, it moves to the ultima major and at the base of the brain and the amygdala, the third eye at the front, moving into the crown chakra. I'm going to ask the Creator to release any confusion there, or distraction. You could say yes if that's okay. And then it moves into the soul star, the solar star, and the stellar gateway. And then we'll witness that white light as a torus field, engulfing your energy, expanding your aura. We're going to download your aura that you are a sovereign being, and that your truth of what it means to be a sovereign being matches the Creator's highest truth. And you could say yes if that's okay. Releasing anything in your space that has nothing to do with you or does not belong to you. You could say yes. And then we'll take a deep cleansing breath in through the nose and out through the mouth, coming back into your heart, focusing again on the root. You can put your hands on your thighs if that helps you to ground. Okay. All right, everybody. Didn't expect that. Anyway, I don't know what else I wanted to touch on. But yeah, I probably won't do. I'm going to talk about Trump's chart. I watched the end of corruption video, and I didn't talk about him in that video. I must have talked about him in the follow-up. I did another one called follow-up to the end of corruption, because I thought that I talked about this on that video, but I didn't. I want you to take a look down there at his moon. You see it with the south node. And you see Black Moon Lilith, Archangel, Heimdall, Archangel. It means the guard of the bridge between heaven and earth. So I look at it as the Holy Spirit. That's the one Metatron pointed out to me as a close, one of the matching. Yeah. So Heimdall is retrograde there on Antares. This is his 4th house of home. It's sad. I can't help it. I mean, just feel compassion. I mean, that is being born with a broken heart, not being loved by the mom, no sense of belonging, not fitting in, no like encouragement or, oh, look at Don, he did so good. That's why he's the best at everything. I mean, he needs that. There isn't really a way to explain the amount of insecurity that this is. And the intercepted Cancer and Capricorn, no support, no family support, not what we call family. And then the dad, not a good guy, not a good guy. So, just keep that in mind. And, if you notice his chaos at the end of Pisces, I hope you guys can see that. Nope, you can't. His asteroid chaos is at the end of Pisces. Where is Pisces? Oh, there it is. You see Vesta, the number 8, and there's the little vessel of fire where we make a commitment. His is with chaos. So, yeah. And Pisces, of course, is like, that's where spirit has the say. It's like what we've decided as a collective is going to happen. Neptune is a lot more karmic than people give him credit for. But, yeah, that's the commitment. And when people say like, oh, he's exposing the shadow. He's exposing the shadow by standing up there and being like, look, look what I'm doing. Do you know how many thousands of kids we took? No. No one knows. No one knows how many thousands of children we took. And where we put them, we send them from the camps where we've been keeping them, the cages, where they don't even have a blanket. We send them from those cages off on a plane somewhere. No one's keeping track of any of that. So, everyone needs to pull their attention out of the Hollywood and, ooh, when it's like state sanctioned trafficking is going on right under our noses, and there's no press is allowed. No one's monitoring anything that's happening with those children. And so you can understand like how people are getting in the ethers like, oh, sex trafficking, and they automatically link it with their political enemies. But it's actually being done by our government. I mean, I'm not going to say that it's for sure sex trafficking, but come on, you know, where are they sending those kids? They have no way to trace their parents. There's no one keeping track. We don't even know how many there are. Let's send love to all of those families and protection for them. But yeah, when someone's on YouTube showing a video of disgusting comment that literally sears people's conscience, and you know, sexual abuse hurts the soul. And when someone is using it like that as political propaganda and then calling themselves a light worker, I have a problem with that. So yeah, I don't like it. Anyway, guys, I didn't want to end that way. That was a nice meditation, but yeah, I do want to just point out that, you know, I don't know how anyone looks at that chart and says like, this is it, this is the answer, this is the one. That's not what what Donald's chart says, but it does say that, you know, he does whatever the hell he wants, which we know, and that the system is corrupt and it's time for everything to come to light. So he's helping to do that in that way. So if that's what, you know, in the way you need to think of him, as that broken little boy who never had any attention, nobody ever fussed after, nobody had time for. If it helps you to find compassion for him that way, then, you know, we can have compassion for him that way. But don't let, you know, political propaganda creep in. Anyway, everybody, a beaded curtain and the luminescence of dawn on the eastern horizon. Sounds good, right? All right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed the video and you found it helpful. I am going to do, probably the twin flame one is coming up soon. I just need to make sure with me that I'm ready to talk about that stuff. It probably will be fine. But yeah, we'll see when they say that it's a good time to do that. All right, everybody. Sending you guys so much love. Take care of yourselves. Be so kind to yourself. Love you guys.